this is to show you where to find information for DDs. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to one completed DDs and the survey report, or the PDP, how we call it. So we already know it from S-builds, when you did S-builds basically from scratch, or from LDs. So it's very similar. First of all, you will always get the survey report, LD drawing completed, and folder with photos, and sometimes you also get a survey notes, the email, which tells you some additional information. In general, most of the design would be done in LDs, steelwork basically. So steelwork, modules, antennas, this all should be done and it's approved. So you will have it in your LD drawings. What I suggest to do is quickly double check the LD again while you're working on it, so you can see some typos, you can have some new information, add information, and also depends who did the LDs. So we have a look first on the LDs what you get. So what you need to change is you save the LDs as DDs. So the file name would be the same as you have, except it won't be L as LDs. It will be C as construction drawing. In the title block, so you get a LDs, which is 3 pages. For ESB sites it's going to be 4 pages because we add antenna schematics, just the PDF version. So first page, typical, we know that, photos, map, everything is there. Second page, you will have all your construction, so you just check the labels. Depends who did the LDs. Sometimes you will have more detailed, sometimes less details, so you will have to add some details. So you have a plan, and then you have an elevation page. So these 3 pages in general shouldn't be changed at all, because that is done and approved. Only, as I said, you might want to add types of antennas if it's not there, types of modules if it's not there, type of TMAs if it's not there, types of duplexer if you have a cabinet and duplexer is visible. So that's the LDs what you get, yeah. So when we have a look at the completed DDs, so DDs I'm gonna show you are DDs for site Kilo Garda station. So as I said, first 3 pages should be basically the same. What you add in the title block, you add this note saying not for construction just below your project name. You amend the revision, and in title block bottom you just change the license to construction, and you change here at the bottom the page number should be C as construction. Yeah, so we had L for LDs, C for construction, A for S-builds. Again, check the license, check all the dates, whatever you feel needs to be double checked, you double check. So that's the first page, same. Then you have the second page. That's the one you don't have in LDs. So you go to the website www.osi.ie, and there, when you input the coordinates from the first page, the Irish grid coordinates of the site, you should get a map. So you just do print screen and insert. Usually it should be not to scale. So you insert. Sometimes the map will be already in LDs, sometimes not, but in general we need to create page 2 of the drawing. So you get the map and just simply show the site with the red box, the access track location, whatever you feel is important. The second part of this page is the summary of access, and the page itself is called OAM Access Instruction Plan, but you will get a template of DD, so you can just get it from there. So on this page you have summary of access. So general, it's address, some structure, keys required, full arrest system if installed, and stuff like that. So if you go to your survey report, most of the information you will find on the first page. This is the only one page where you kind of need to dig in the report to get all the information. So some information you would have on the first page at the access and health and safety. Then you could find some more information sometimes in delivery and collection. Let's say street parking only, cabin on site. Sometimes shared access procedures. So some things like this you will find in delivery and collection. And so this is 2 pages you use. So that's what you get there. Then the next thing what you have in that is sometimes you won't see the type of full arrest. So if you look at the photos, you always get photos. So you look at the photos. So you should be able to identify if the full arrest is a latchway, haka, rail lock, or what type of ladder it is. If you're not sure, just go to Google the name of the type of the full arrest, and you can find the examples. So when you see it in the photos, it will be more clear for you. The last thing on this page is basically the summary of scope of work. So again, if you use some template and you go from the top to bottom, so we have an access and health and safety. I just talked about it. You can get it from the O&M information, what you just completed. Existing technologies. If you go to the survey report and you go to existing antenna system, you see operator and technology. So in this case, the existing is O2, G9, and U21. So if I go back to drawing, G9, U21. Proposed technologies, again, back in the report, in next tab, proposed antenna system, you see proposed technology. So in this case, it's going to be A3G or 3R length, L8, GU900, L18, and U21. So back to this. Structural and civils. Most of this information are already in LDs if it's done properly. But again, in the report, all this information are on the first page. So there's a proposal of works, basically of everything, which is here. Let's say reuse existing steelwork antenna. When we have longer antennas than we had before, sometimes we need to swap the poles. Sometimes we need to swap one pole for one sector to allow installing the modules, the FSME and FRGU T/T. So that's what you find here. You also find this information on tab 5, which is structure and steelwork. Usually it's just a copy of the first page information. And lastly, you can find it as well on the antenna, proposed antenna page. Usually the guys just copy it there as well. Regarding the installations, where you also can find information regarding the dishes, you find the information on tab 8.1, which is the X-axis design. So you find their existing dishes. For example, in this side we have 2 existing dishes, but in cover and summary page there are another 2 dishes proposed. So it actually should be here as well. Sometimes there could be a mistake. It's written here up there, but it's not in the table. So as I said, you kind of can't just rely on one template. But if you read the summary of the cover on the cover page, it should give you all the information you need, and then you just dig for the details in photos or in other tabs. So that's the proposed works. What else do we have there? So that's structural civils is usually removing cabinets, installing cabinets, racks, PSU swap, or just adding the rectifiers or batteries and the support poles and stuff like that. RF and antennas, everything what's related to the antenna. So antenna swap, any modules, RRUs, DMAs, duplexers, feeders. We don't need to specify the tails, but we need to specify the feeders. Usually, in 99% of the cases, we already have existing feeders, but we are swapping them. So basically, all the feeders will be new, yeah, unless stated any differently. Earthing, again, it's very similar. All proposed and existing equipment to be earthed, proposed rack. So basically, whatever you install, it should be mentioned here as to be earthed. So just make sure that you use, if you have proposed rack, that you have proposed rack. If you have equipment in the existing rack, you just get a existing rack. Same if you have TMAs, you mention TMAs. If you don't have TMAs, you just don't mention them. You mention RRUs, whatever. Right? So that's basically the scope of work. The recommendation what I can give you on this is maybe do all the drawing first, and then when you have the drawing in the head, finalize the scope of work and make sure that all the pages match. So if it says here see drawing C09 for details, the detail is actually on the drawing C09, right? So that's what you need to do. Two options. If you once you get more advanced and you know all the LDs, whatever, it maybe is better to do it first. I do it first because I go through LDs, I go through the reports and just type this down. Sometimes I just add or amend something when I'm on the go with other pages of the drawing. So that's page 2. Then we move to page 3, which is basically the page from LDs, page 2 plan from LDs. Just make sure you change the page number to C03, and again go to the labels, maybe amend them, add dishes, whatever needs to be done. But in general, again, 99% of the information given in the LDs should match and should be correct. Yeah. Next page, elevation, same as previous. Change the site page number and amend if needed, amend some information. Now, the next page, page 5, is a cabin layout plan. So we have two options. Option 1 is that we have a cabin. So on this page, you show just the plan of the cabin, showing newly installed equipment to be decommissioned, should be in the decommission layer. You find all the information again in the report. So when we go through the report, where to find the information? So most of the information regarding the cabin you can find on NSN and Samsung RBS. So there could be some information here. Also, you can find it here on the top, AC and DC power details, which shows you all the supplies, DC power details, number of rectifiers, existing DC suppliers ratings. All this is here. And the next page, we don't need ESB flowchart, we don't use it, but the load calculation, the last page of the survey, 9.4, gives you basically all the information about cooling and power upgrades. So you have it here in the comments, and also you can see here PSU upgrades details. So it needs to be upgraded to LTEC Flatpak to 24 kilowatt. Batteries are 155 ampere hours and three strings in total. And cooling upgrade is dual fan, free cooling. Some information could be here as well. So that's all related to power. So back to the drawing. So you show the duplexers, you show the cabinets, as I said. If your site is the cabins, the outdoor cabinets, then your page, all the pages are the same, except here you just show the plan of the cabinet, including like a piece of, you know, cable ladder, whatever. If you have any duplexers, they probably would be installed on the cable ladder or on the gantry pole, so it has to be shown on this page. Just a zoom of the plan, you know, maybe amend few details, add few details, depends what you need to do, what's requested. Yeah, so that's this page. When we move to the next page, it's rack layout could be proposed or existing. If you have a existing rack, or if I go back to the cabinet option, so you have the cabinet. So if you have existing cabinet or existing rack, make sure the equipment which is already there, you show it and you show it correctly. You can find it in the photos, and also you will be able to find it on the page NSN and Samsung RBS. So this is you could get existing one, but we have just the proposed, we have new rack. So you would have here existing modules, whatever is installed, and the proposed layout. So that's what you basically need to follow. Yeah. So when I go back to my drawing, so it's very similar for cabinet. For cabinet, you will just have this one cabinet, because the right side is your basically equipment rack, the left side is your power solution, TX batteries, stuff like that, and you show the breakers. You know that from S-builds. So again, if you have an existing solution already there, you just you check what breakers are already used for, node B, TX, whatever, and then you just add your breakers for new equipment, for the proposed equipment. If you have a new one, you just follow the typical standard, or if you do the PSU swap out, then again you will have the new one. So that's this only difference between cabinet and cabin. Make sure the last thing regarding the cabinets, make sure you use the correct cabinet. So if your site cabinet is TFL302, use TFL302 template. If there's some other cabinet, use different block. All the blocks should be in the Mosaic library you have, so all the modules, everything is there. So again, I suggest use the library every time. That's the only way how you can avoid bringing forward the wrong blocks, errors, layers, and stuff like that. So back to the cabin. If you have cabin, you need to show equipment rack, RF rack, and the PSU or power solution rack. Make sure rectifier number is correct, battery strings are correct, and here you show your modules installed, and you show again the breakers. Yeah, basically node B breakers are 32 ampere, everything else is 16 ampere. Sometimes we still not sure, sometimes the guys just change it, so just follow the templates you have for this, and if there's something different, we just amend it, and it's not a big crazy issue. It could be easily amended, because as I said, we're not very sure about what goes where. So that's it. Next page, you also know it, is antenna schematics. So what's maybe different from what you used before is the antenna bottom view. Again, many of the antennas are in the Mosaic library. If the antenna is not there, just Google the type of antenna, and you should be able to find the PDF with the specification easily. I usually double check even the specifications for the size of the antennas, especially for the elevation. We're not too much bothered with the block size for the plan view, because it's very similar every time, but the elevation could be different because the size of the antenna could go from 1.3 to 2.5 meters, so it's important to focus on it. So all the information for the schematics you find on the proposed antenna system. So let me just get this smaller. So I will get it. I will get it next to each other, so we can see it. 99 cases schematics will be same for all three antennas. Sometimes, as you know, it happened before, we could have different antennas, different schematics, especially the cases with the shared sites, when the antenna is shared between A3G or 3R length and MMC metal. What you have here, and the rooftops, rooftops should have different configuration. If one antenna is too far from the cabinet, could be different feeders or totally different solution. So information you have here for the schematics. So again, antenna type is here, so you make sure you use correct antenna, use correct frequencies, which you can see on the plan view, or you can right here, or you can just get them from the specification as well. And then you have each port. This is port 1, port 2, port 3, port 4, port 4. So it's a four band and antenna. So we start with L80, L800. So we have here top tail, which is this one. Then you have the feeder, and you have a bottom tail. Simple as that. Then you have the solution for 900, which is 2 FXDB mains. So one FXDB is for G900, one is for U900. So you have one tail to 900, one tail to G, one tail to U, and then you have a DC and fiber cable for each module. So that's two fibers and 2 DC for whole site. And you have here, I'm not sure if you can see it, you have here the antenna count. So it's antenna 1, antenna 2, antenna 3. Sometimes the main could be antenna 2 or antenna 3. You can see it here. It says antenna 1 is main, antenna 2 is antenna 1 is main, antenna 2 should be dummy. Yeah, these two antennas should be dummy. So one is main. So then it continues to other antennas. And as I said, you have DC and optical cable. Sometimes what they show is that the cable is 23 meters, whatever the optical. Usually, if I'm not mistaken, we can cut the cables, the fiber, only on specific locations, which are 5 or 10 meters apart. I'm not sure. So always round it up. I usually round it up to 10 of meters. So if it says 25, I show 30 meters. And the last we have in this case the solution for L18 and U21 is a 4-port DTMA, which is here. So we have 2 tails for L18, 2 tails for U21. Then we have, after the TMA, we have another 1 meter tails, which is this one. Then we have ABA feeders, which is here, and then we have a duplexer at the cabinet side with here the small yes shows DC stops. So L800 has the DC stops, L1800, sorry. So DC stop on the duplexer, and then again 2 tails for L18 and 2 tails for U21, and just a copy of your cabinet. If you let me just go back to PDF. So once you do this, you do all the label, make sure all is corrected. In this case, which is usual for towers, all the sectors have the same length of feeders. If it's rooftop, or it could be like a different tower, the feeders would be different length. So I would just put 16/15/21 meters long. And lastly, we fill in the table. So the top section is antenna details, so type, size, height to the center, and orientation. Make sure this is correct. The second part are the tilts, so mechanical tilt and electrical tilt. Again, you can find the tilts in your PDP proposed antennas. So the mechanical tilt is here below the azimuth, and it's usually 0. Then your electrical tilts will be different for every sector and every technology. Unfortunately, this one doesn't show any tilts, but let me just open any PDP which would show you what I mean. So if I open any PDP here, some different site. So here, and I go to the page existing and proposed antenna system. So here, just go to 100%. So here is your mechanical tilt, and here are your electrical tilt. So L800 would be 8, 18/21 would be 5, 900 would be 7, and you fill it here. Yeah, so just make sure that the ports are correct, the technologies are correct. Then the cable requires. Basically what you do, you rewrite everything what you have here, what you drawn, and what you have, as I showed before, in the proposed antennas. Make sure if you need 2 tails for each sector, total is 6. You need only 1 fiber for the G9 and 1 for U9 for whole site. So it's 1, and total count is 1 as well. Red cables, RF modules, RRUs, duplexers. Whatever is in the schematics has to be in the table. Antenna ports, coloring, you have the bottom view, so you have L800 is red. If you have a dash line, it means it's a red-white port. And again, yellow, and yellow-white. Just follow the... If you have same antennas, it would be usually the same. And if you look at the report, in the report, you also have the... Sometimes they put the colors here, like Huawei red here. In this case, you can see red. No, sorry, that's the RT. So sometimes they put the colors here as well to the port. So it would be here. Port type, port tag. Sometimes would be ID, sometimes would be color. Yeah, but in general, as I said, in your template, you have the colors. We have many antennas already in the libraries. If it's not in the library, just email me, I might have it. Or, as I said, Google the specification and use some same antenna. Usually all the Huawei antennas have the same bottom view layout. Only the ports could be, the colors could be swapped, that the yellow could be here 2 times and red here. So it's just small changes, so you can easily do it, no problem. So that's the antenna schematic page. Next page is very simple. We just insert the print screen of the configuration. The issue here, what I have, is the details you find in page 6.3 NSN and Samsung RBS, and it's exactly here, the configuration. So your configuration NSN is 1B, 1C. So what we're gonna do is you go to templates, there is the document, I'm not sure if you have it. If not, again, email me and I will send this to you or put it to Dropbox. So in this document, we have all the options, all the types of schematics. Again, I'm saying all, but sometimes we don't find the adequate schematics. So what I do, if I'm not sure, I just leave the page empty and tell the guys to figure it out, or just tell me which one should go there, right? So all the it's it's the NSN configuration, so the modules. So it's, if it's centralized, that means that your module is removed up on the tower, or if it's in the cabin, and it's not removed, it's local. Okay, so that's a schematic. Again, you just find the one you need, you take a print screen just of the schematic, and you insert it to the DDs as it is in the template, like this. Yeah, make sure you use correct layer. Again, should be layer geolocation, map, and photos. Next page is antenna and dish mounting details. What you do is you just zoom the page of elevation to the location of the antennas. You basically copy all the labels what you have already done in the elevation, double check, label again, and you add the dimensions. Again, use a template to match the properties so you are sure that you have it in correct layer. What you need to do afterwards, you need to go to the elevation page and just turn off, or sorry, freeze in viewport the layer with dimensions, so you won't have the small dimensions visible in elevation page. One thing here, this case, this site had two proposed dishes, but we didn't know the azimuth yet. So what we do in this case, we just put their site ID, the far end ID, if we don't know the bearings. If we know the bearings, we just put the bearing there. Okay, so that's a steel work, and we add in elevation page, you have only the center, the height of the center of the antenna. So in this detail page, we also add bottom and top. So basically the difference between top and bottom should give you the length of antenna, which in this case is 1.5 meters. So that's the steel work. Then the next page is the health and safety signage. Again, you just copy it from the template. No issue, no need to do anything with it. Just make sure that you're using the latest one. And the last page of DDs is the signage layout and lighting. So what we do is we have few labels here saying that basically whatever we installed needs to be earthed properly, and we put 1.1 for the antennas, and this 3 I usually put for the cabin and for the cabinet. And in the bottom you will add the note. Again about the earthing. So it's very simple. Just make sure all is mentioned there. Again, as I said, same as in the scope of work. If you have RF modules, TMAs, antennas, dishes should be mentioned there. If you don't have TMAs, you might have RRUs, you might have duplexers. So just the equipment related to the site should be mentioned. So it's not just a copy from the previous drawing. You really need to amend it properly. And that should be it. So sometimes if it's usually rooftops, whatever, you can have more pages with details like steel work, but it would be on the very rare site basis. And what we always do, if we have this more complicated, we also try to get some old drawing which already has this DDs details, so some old DDs or some old S-builds, because the LDs, as I said, have only 3 pages. So to sum up, I showed you the report where to find the information to each page. I showed you what to focus on every page. I showed you or mentioned to go through the photos, especially the cabin plan. If you are not sure with the cabin plan with this page, you just go through the photos and kind of draw it. Again, we don't care much about the dimensions in this case. So just make sure that the plan looks like the cabin looks in overall layout. So you might go through the few photos, or it could be, if you have the report, the cabin details would be in here as well. Sometimes they just put the sketch here with the cabin detail, or rack, or cabinet. Okay, so So as I said, we use the 3 pages. Just after the first page, we need to insert the page 2 with OEM details, and then don't forget to change the page numbers for plan and elevation. Okay, so I think that's it, and I'm gonna leave you with this, and hopefully you will be able to produce a DDs based on this. If there are any issues or any information needed, just email, and I make sure that you will get the information as needed. Always go through the report quickly, and if there are some issues, let me know, and I will try to get the information, especially even if you're gonna start later, just make sure that you go through the report as soon as possible and that you understand what's needed on site. Okay, thank you very much.